I'm hesitant to just go online and order some genetic test and take a swab and send my stuff in, because I've always been cautious as to what these companies will do with that genetic information. And if you don't own your genetic information, well, theoretically, there could come a point in time where they sell your genetic information to insurers, and they look at your DNA and they say, oh, you know what? He actually has a marker here for early disease, and so we're not going to insure him. I'm not saying this happens, but I do think there are a lot of ethical issues at play here. I do like that in this case that there is an option to opt out of allowing your DNA to be used. I do think it is important to use DNA to create new products and new drugs. What I do not like is when companies use your information, period. I'm talking about companies that use your home mailing address, people that use your phone number and DNA. Yeah, and they do, and the companies do this all the time, and it's an opt-out, not an opt-in. I just firmly believe that society has to flip the script. Everything should be opt-in. I'm so sick of how all of our information is out there being sold, and we're not in control of it. It's opt-out,
and
opt-out.
I think what's startling is how much of it we are kind of buying into or doing on our own. I think with all of the revelations about social media lately and how these apps are infiltrating your phone, and they can monitor your texts and they can monitor your calls, and then another company is buying that information. I think you're right. I mean, I think that we're opening up a whole Pandora's box of violations of privacy and information we may not be willing to share.
Don't you want to do one of these DNA things, find out where your people are from?
Well, we have done it on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have.
I opted not to because...
Don't you want to know where your peeps are from? I mean, I know you may think you know where your peeps are from.
They're from Earth? I think there's a small part of me that, yes. But having said that, until I have a little bit more control, I opt to not. I would just tell people, be conscious that when you're getting your DNA tested for anything, ask the question, okay, well, who else will have access to my DNA? And if there's a possibility that you could sell it to someone else, just know whether you have the option to opt out or opt in. And if you opt in, you may help discover some new great drug someday that'll save your life and maybe a loved one's.
No, I enjoyed that info of where your people came from.
Remind me where your peeps are from?
Well, Eastern Europe primarily, Poland, Russia, Ukraine,
Right.
But then Northern Italy and Germany. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is. All right. Dr. B, have you...
My people? Where's my tribe? Well, not surprisingly, I'm Indian, so most of the people were from India and the Middle East, but I think the one surprise...
Did you get a little curveball?
Was I did have a curveball, and it's interesting because I spent 2 months of medical school in Sweden, and nobody could understand why I wanted to go there and why I wanted to rotate there, and it's a place for me that's always had a great affinity, and sure enough, I'm 10% Swedish somehow, which was really interesting. Yeah, so that was sort of fascinating, but of course, after the fact, you always try to justify everything. But it was, it's my favorite part of the world.
Somebody's got some splaining to do.
Yeah, seriously.